The rain didn't stop for 3 days. In Sector 17, that meant trouble. Pipes overflowed, streets turned to mud, and the sky stayed dark. Inside a broken house, a girl sat near the window. Her name was Liara. She was 17. Too tall, too soft. And too wide, they always said. The world didn't want girls like her. Her stepfather, Ron, was drunk again. His breath smelled like acid and old meat. He looked at her like she was a burden, like she didn't belong in his house. "You eat too much," he said. "You breathe too loud." Liara didn't answer. She had learned that silence was safer. That night, someone knocked at the door. It wasn't a regular knock. It was 2 soft taps, then one hard one. Ron froze. He stood up and looked out the window. A dark van was parked outside, silent. "No lights. They're here," he whispered. Liora stood. Her heart began to race. She didn't know why, but something inside told her to run. "Who is it?" she asked. Ron didn't answer. He walked to the cabinet, took out a metal case, and opened it. Inside was a blue bottle, glowing faintly. "A special drink. Illegal. Rare. They offered me this," he said without looking at her. "In exchange for you." Liara blinked. "What?" "You're no use here," he said, taking a sip. His eyes rolled back slightly. "They said you're worth more to them. You sold me? For a drink?" He shrugged. "You're too big to breed. No man will take you. You just take space." Tears filled her eyes, but her voice stayed. "Calm. Where are they taking me? I don't know. And I don't care." The door opened. 2 figures entered. Tall, wearing black suits. One had a scanner in his hand. The other carried a metal collar. "Subject verified," the scanner man said. "Full body match. Transfer approved." Liara backed away. "No, I'm not going." The man with the collar stepped forward. His face was blank. His eyes were pure white. "You have no choice." She ran to the back door, but the scanner buzzed again. Her legs froze. She collapsed. "They've locked your movement," Ron said, smiling as he took another sip. "Neural freeze. Simple tech." The collar was placed around her neck, cold. Heavy. Final. As they dragged her out, she looked back one last time. Her stepfather didn't even wave. He was too busy drinking, eyes closed, smiling. The van was cold and dark inside. The seats were made of steel, no windows. No light. Liara sat still. The collar buzzed softly, warning her not to move. Her heart pounded, but her face was calm. The man across from her finally spoke. His voice was quiet, not cruel. "You're different," he said. "Too different to stay on Earth." She looked at him. "Where are you taking me?" "Zone X." She had heard that name before. On old broadcasts, on warning signs. "No one returns from Zone X," she said. "That's true." Liara didn't reply. She closed her eyes. For a moment, she saw her mother, smiling, brushing her hair, singing songs from the old world. But that was long ago. Her mother had disappeared when Liara was 5. The night the sky turned red, the van stopped. The doors opened. Outside was a tall gate. Metal, shining, humming. Behind it, huge towers reached the sky, covered in lights and wires. This wasn't Earth, or if it was, it had changed. As they walked through the gate, a woman in a white coat met them. Her eyes widened when she saw Liara. "This is her?" The man nodded. "Yes." The woman stared at Liara's body, not with disgust, but wonder. "She's not useless," she whispered. "She's the key." Liara heard it. Her heart skipped a beat. The woman looked at the man. "We must begin testing. Now." They took her into a large chamber. Metal walls, blue lights. A scanner floated above her. "Lay down," someone said. Liara obeyed. She had no choice. As the machine scanned her, data appeared on a screen. Unclassified DNA strand detected. Body mass, unique evolutionary pattern. Result: not compatible with Earth protocols. Further study required. In a corner, the white coat. Woman whispered to herself, she wasn't born wrong. She was born outside the system. Leora didn't understand. But her body did. It began to glow. Just slightly. Her skin shimmered with tiny lines, like circuits under the flesh. The woman gasped. She's waking up. Waking up from what? The man asked. From the lie, she answered. Leora didn't know if she was dreaming or dead. She opened her eyes to a white ceiling. It wasn't made of paint or stone. It looked alive. The walls around her pulsed softly, as if breathing. No windows, no sound, just silence. Heavy and endless. She tried to sit up, but her body felt like stone. Her arms were strapped to the table, her legs too. Her skin itched, but she couldn't move. A voice spoke. Calm. Cold. Subject is awake. Begin memory scan. Suddenly, a beam of light touched her forehead. Her eyes rolled back and the ceiling disappeared. She was falling through her own memories. She saw a small house. Her mother singing, a red sky. And then, something strange. A room she didn't remember. A woman in a silver suit placing her in a metal cradle. The cradle floating. Her mother crying. A man saying, this child cannot stay here. Her body is wrong for Earth. Leora gasped and woke up. Now she was in a new room. This one had glass walls. Scientists stood outside, watching her. Some took notes. Some stared like she was a rare animal. Inside the room across from her sat a woman, old, with sharp eyes. She wore no lab coat. Just a long black dress with silver symbols. You're awake, the woman said. Where am I? Leora asked. Zone X, the woman replied. Where things that don't belong are kept. Leora's throat was dry. Why am I here? The woman smiled softly. Because you're special. Not like the others. I'm just too big. That's all they said. The woman's smile faded. They don't understand. Your body is not too big. It is too advanced. Leora blinked. Advanced? The woman leaned closer. Do you know why they fear you? Why they never let girls like you live freely? No, Leora whispered. Because your body type matches no human class. You're not built for reproduction. You're built for preservation. Leora's heart began to pound. Outside, alarms suddenly rang. Lights turned red. A voice echoed. Genetic reading detected. Class X confirmed. Prepare level 3 containment. The woman stood up. She touched the glass wall. Her hand glowed. The wall vanished. Come with me, she said. Who are you? Leora asked. My name is Vizara, and I once knew your mother. They walked down a glowing hallway. No doors, just smooth walls. Leora's collar beeped, then clicked open on its own. She touched her neck, confused. How did it unlock? She asked. It only works on true humans, Vizara said. You're not one of them. Leora stopped walking. Then, what am I? Vizara turned slowly. You're what they call outborn. Your DNA was built from pre-collapse genetic material. Ancient, strong, meant for survival after Earth fails. Leora shook her head. That doesn't make sense. It will, Vizara said. Come, there's something you need to see. They entered a round room. A sphere floated in the center, spinning slowly. Inside the sphere, hundreds of bodies, floating in blue liquid. Some looked human. Others didn't. These are failed experiments, Vizara said. Most were destroyed, but some, like you, survived. Leora walked to the sphere. Her reflection appeared, but something was wrong. Her eyes glowed faintly. Her skin shimmered again, just like in the van. Why is my body doing that? Because it remembers, Vizara whispered. Your cells were designed to wake up only when the world begins to collapse. That time is now. Suddenly the door behind them hissed open. A young man entered, maybe 20, sharp jaw, eyes like steel. He wore a black uniform with the symbol of the High Genetics Council. "I found her," he said. Visara frowned. "You're not welcome here, Riven." He ignored her and looked at Leora. "You need to leave now. They plan to dissect you within 24 hours. Leora stepped back. "Why?" "Because they're afraid," Riven said. "Afraid of what you carry." "What do I carry?" she asked. He paused. "A message, hidden in your blood. Left by the first species before humans." Visara stepped between them. "She's not ready to know that." "She doesn't have time," Riven snapped. "They're coming." Alarms screamed again. "Security breach. Floor 7 lockdown. Outborn breach. Terminate on site." Visara grabbed Leora's hand. "Run." Leora didn't think. She just followed Dot as they ran through the hallway. Lights flickered. Doors slammed behind them. She looked back and saw men in armor chasing with weapons glowing red. Riven opened a secret panel. "In here." Leora dove through the opening. The panel shut. Darkness again. Only one light blinked ahead, and one question echoed in Leora's mind. "What am I carrying inside me? And why is it worth killing for?" She dreamed of drowning. In air, Leora floated in a black space, her arms open, body weightless. Voices circled her, whispering from every direction. Voices of people she didn't know, yet somehow remembered. "Too wide. Too soft. Can't carry a seed. Broken design." Then silence. And a single voice, clear and warm. "You were made after the fall, not before. You were made to carry more than life." Leora's eyes opened. She wasn't in a hallway anymore. She was inside a round glass room filled with fog. Her skin was wet. Her hair floated slightly. Gravity felt soft here. A machine blinked beside her. A smooth voice spoke. Subject stable. Heart rhythm unique. Breathing function not found. Leora sat up, her breath shaking. She wasn't wearing the collar anymore. Her wrists had faint marks. Someone had scanned her while she was asleep. Suddenly, the wall ahead turned transparent. Large observation hall appeared. Hundreds of people stared through the glass. Students, doctors, soldiers. They all stared at her like she was a rare animal. One woman stepped forward. Her voice echoed through the glass. "My name is Dr. Anna Vale. I lead the Breeding Standards Division for Central Earth Command." She pointed to a screen behind her, where Leora's body was shown as a hologram. "According to our records," Dr. Vale continued, "your body does not match any approved female blueprint. You are not fit for breeding. You are not fit for storing genetic legacy. By all definitions, you are unfit." Leora stood slowly, her hands clenched. "I'm not a blueprint," she said softly. "I'm a person." Dr. Vale smiled coldly. "You're a mistake." Behind the glass, someone whispered to Vale. She nodded. "Let me show you something," she said. The screen changed. Now it showed rows of images. Thin women, sharp jaws, tiny frames. Above each image, approved breeder class A, G. "Do you see the difference?" Vale asked. Lior, I didn't answer. But her body felt like fire. "These forms are ideal. Efficient, light, made for fast and repeatable breeding cycles. You, Leora, you're not fast, you're not small. You are not made for Earth's future." Leora's voice cracked, but stayed strong. "Then maybe Earth's future is broken." The crowd behind the glass went silent. Vale's smile faded. She turned away. "Terminate the subject. Waste material." Suddenly, red lights flashed again. A siren screamed. A new voice, cold and robotic, filled the room. "Override detected. Genetic authority breach in progress. Cancel termination." The glass wall dissolved. And in stepped Visara, her black robes flowing, eyes glowing faintly. This girl, she said, is not here to breed your weak bloodlines. She was built for something far greater. She raised her hand. Holograms flickered. Strange symbols filled the room. Ancient language. Forgotten tech. Leora's body carries something none of your perfect breeders ever will. The Eden Pulse. Gasps echoed through the hall. Even Vale looked afraid now. The what? Someone asked. The final signal, Vazara said. Left. By the Makers. A backup of Earth's soul, its memory, its real history. Leora's hands began to glow. Her veins lit up with blue light. She didn't know how. It just happened. Vale shouted, "Contain her. She's triggering unknown tech." But no one moved. The lights across the room bent toward Leora. The machines buzzed and bowed. She wasn't just a girl now. She was the carrier of something lost long ago. She turned to Vazara. "Why me?" "Because your body," she said, "was never designed to make life. It was designed to carry the memory of life." Leora stepped forward. Her fear was gone. "If I have this, what do I do with it?" Vazara whispered, "That is your choice. But be warned, when they realize you are not a mistake, they will try to own you." Behind them, Vale had disappeared. Soldiers were already moving in. "Where can I go?" Leora asked. "Deeper," Vazara said. "To the cold zones, where the first ones slept. Where your story began, and where it must end." Leora looked once more at the screen showing her body. She wasn't shaped like the world wanted her to be. She was shaped like something the world had forgotten. And that shape was finally waking up. It started with a sound, not an alarm. Not a voice, just a hum, deep, ancient, like something buried under Earth's bones had finally started to sing. Leora opened her eyes. She was no longer in the glass chamber. She was lying in a small white room, smooth walls, no doors. Soft lights moved across the ceiling like waves. Her head hurt. Her body was shaking. A man sat beside her, typing into a black device. He had a long scar across his jaw and golden wires under his skin. His name tag read, Dr. Selin Thorne, Memory Engineer. He didn't look at her. "You're awake earlier than expected." "Where am I?" Leora asked, voice dry. "Memory Bank Room 4, he replied, still typing. "You're here for extraction." She tried to sit up, but her arms were strapped. "What are you taking from me?" Thorne finally looked at her. His eyes were too calm. "Not taking," he said. "Just copying your memories, your dreams, your mother's voice. The strange things you saw in childhood, all of it is information. We need that data." Leora's heartbeat jumped. "Why?" He leaned closer. "Because there's something buried inside you. A map, a key, maybe even a message. You don't know what it is. But it's there, and I'm going to find it." The lights dimmed. A thin helmet dropped from the ceiling and rested over her head. It was cold. It hissed softly as it clicked into place. "Don't fight it," Thorne said. "You'll feel sleepy. You'll see things. Just let them come." Then, Darkness.Liora was standing in a field of red grass. The sky above her was green, with 2 moons. A soft wind blew across her skin, carrying music, but there were no instruments. Only a voice, singing in a language she didn't know. And yet it made her cry. Ahead, a tall woman stood with her back turned. "Mom?" Leora whispered. The woman turned. It was her, but not human. Her mother's eyes were pure gold. Her skin shimmered with silver patterns, and her voice wasn't from Earth. "You were never supposed to remember this place," she said. "What is this?" Leora asked. "This is the before time. The world before humans ruled, the place we hid you from." Suddenly, the field shook. The sky turned dark. A storm of static swallowed the moons. Leora screamed. She opened her eyes, back in the memory room. The helmet blinked red. Thorn was staring at the screen, sweating. "What did you see?" he asked. Leora couldn't speak. He pressed a button. "Run it again." The helmet dropped again. This time, the world was on fire. She stood inside a broken city, towers melting, people running, machines falling from the sky. A great shadow flew above, wings like metal storms dot in the middle of the chaos. A small girl stood holding a glowing stone. Leora realized the girl was her. But younger, the child turned to her. "Don't let them take it," she said. "Take what?" Leora cried. "The seed, inside you." She woke up screaming. Thorn looked pale now. His hand was shaking. "You're not just a carrier," he whispered. "You're storing something living." Leora's straps suddenly released. A quiet alarm beeped. "What's happening?" She asked. Thorn stood. "Someone's inside the system, shutting it down." The lights above turned blue. A voice came through the walls. "Vasara." "Leora, follow the light. Left wall, now." Thorn tried to grab her, but the floor opened under her bed. She fell. She landed on a slide, metallic, fast, twisting through darkness. For a moment, she couldn't breathe. Then light appeared. She slid out into a wide chamber, old, filled with vines and glowing stones. Screens blinked on the walls, showing alien symbols. Vasara stood near a console. "You made it," she said. Leora gasped, still catching her breath. "What was in my mind?" "Pieces of the before time," Vasara said. "The place your people came from." "My people?" "You are outborn," Vasara said. "Your kind arrived long ago, planted among humans, one every generation. Most were lost. You survived." Leora held her head. Her memories burned like fire. "But why me?" "Because your mind was strong enough to hold it, and now they know. They'll hunt you harder." Suddenly, the vines on the wall lit up. A small screen opened. Inside, a glowing seed hovered. Liora stared. It pulsed with life. "That's it," Vasara said. "The core they want. What does it do?" "It remembers. Not just the past, but how to rebuild the future." Footsteps echoed above. They were coming. "Do you want to keep running?" Vasara asked. "Or do you want to know who your mother really was?" Leora turned to her, eyes glowing faintly. "I want to remember everything." Asterisk in the dark between dreams, she heard the numbers again. Not voices, not music. Just numbers, soft, endless, pulsing behind her eyes like a heartbeat. 4, 12, 81, 0, reset, then silence. And then, the whisper. "You are the last line of memory." Leora opened her eyes. She was in a cave, but not just any cave. The walls were lined with metal roots, glowing faint blue. The air felt warm, alive. Strange plants grew from the ceiling. Some moved when she breathed. She was lying on a bed of vines. Her skin sparkled. Faintly, Vasara stood nearby, speaking with a group of people wearing bone-woven robes. They had markings on their faces, patterns of data, tattooed like ancient codes. "These are the rootless," Vasara said. "The last tribe that remembers before Earth systems took over." A tall man stepped forward. His eyes were cloudy white, but his voice was clear. "We waited for her. We dreamed her name before she was born. The wide one. The full one. The carrier." Leora sat up slowly. "How do you know me?" The man touched the metal root on the wall. It glowed under his hand. "We don't know you," he said. "We know what's inside you." They led her into a deeper chamber, one that pulsed like a beating heart. At the center was a circular pool filled with silver liquid. Reflections danced across it, showing pieces of a broken world. The man continued. "Thousands of years ago, the Makers knew Earth would fall. They left a signal, hidden in a body, waiting to be reborn. That signal is you." Leora's breath caught. "But I don't remember it." You're not supposed to, Visara said softly. If they found it too soon, they would have destroyed it. That's why your body was built differently, not for breeding. Not for power, for carrying. Carrying what? The man dipped his hand into the silver pool. Images appeared. Earth. Burning, cities sinking, wires choking trees, skies filled with black smoke. And then, a starship. Leaving Earth. It carried seeds. And one sleeping child. You came from that ship, the man said. Your mother hid you inside it. She was the last maker. She gave her life so you could live unnoticed, until now. Leora stared at the floating image of the child. It was her. Same face. Same eyes. Tears burned her eyes. She knew this would happen? Visara nodded. She sent a message through your blood. A code that can reset Earth systems and restart the cycle. Leora looked down at her hands. And what happens if I activate it? The rootless man's smile faded. You disappear. He said, the body remains. But the memories, the code, the soul, become part of the Earth. Leora backed away. I'm not ready to die. No, Visara said gently. You're not dying. You're becoming what you were meant to be. Suddenly, a loud sound shook the chamber. Dust fell from the ceiling. Lights flickered. One of the rootless ran in, out of breath. They found us. Government drones. Visara turned to Leora. You have to decide. Now run and hide again. Or finish what your mother started. Leora stepped toward the silver pool. Her hands began to glow, not just blue now, but golden. Like a small sun, the liquid inside the pool shimmered, forming the shape of Earth. Wires wrapped around it like chains. The numbers returned in her mind. 4. 1281, 0. What do they mean? She whispered. They are the code, the rootless man said. The countdown to regenesis. Another explosion rocked the chamber. Drones swarmed into the tunnels. Gunshots echoed. Visara placed her hand on Leora's chest. The code lives here. If you want to use it, you must go to the place where your ship first landed. Where is that? The rootless man looked up. Beneath the ruins of the Sky Palace, old Earth's final station, the place they now call Dead Eden. Leora turned to face the tunnel. Drones were coming, but now she didn't feel small. She didn't feel too wide or too soft or wrong. She felt ready. I'll go to Dead Eden, she said. And if this world wants to erase me, then I'll make sure it remembers. Everything first. Asterisk, her body remembered things her mind could not. As Leora stepped into the ruins of Dead Eden, her skin trembled, not from cold, but from memory. Every wall seemed to hum when she passed. The broken gates shifted as if whispering her name. She wasn't walking into a place. She was walking into herself. Dead Eden was once a space station, a breeding vault, a throne for humanity's perfect future. Now it was a graveyard. Rust dripped from the ceiling like blood. Broken glass lined the halls. The air tasted like copper and lost dreams. Visara walked beside her, silent. Behind them, the last few rootless followed. Drones had chased them. Halfway across the cold zones, some were lost. Some gave their lives so Leora could make it here. At the heart of Dead Eden, a great metal door waited. Sealed for over a century. A symbol glowed at its center, a circle within a square. Pulsing faintly, Leora placed her hand on it. The symbol lit up. The door opened. Inside, the air was still, warm, alive. They stepped into a chamber built like a cathedral. At its center stood a single object, a flesh chamber, shaped like a cocoon, half machine, half organic. Glowing cables ran from its base into the ground, feeding power through ancient veins. Leora froze. This feels like a heart, Visara nodded. It is. The last functioning biocore. And it only opens for the one who carries the code. Leora walked to it slowly. Her body glowed again, not blue this time, but golden white. Soft waves of light rippled across her skin. "I feel everything," she whispered. "Fear, pain, love, like it's all inside me at once." Vizara stepped forward, because this choice is not just about systems. It's about souls. From a console nearby, an old hologram flickered on. A woman appeared, tall, strong, and familiar. Leora gasped. "Mom," the hologram began to speak. "If you're watching this, it means the world has broken again. And you've survived what they tried to erase. You were never too much. You were always enough, more than enough. Because you carry what no one else could hold, memory, feeling, weight, hope. Inside the chamber is the seed. If you choose to merge with it, Earth will reboot. All systems will reset. But you will not return the same." Leora watched her mother's face fade, one last smile frozen in static dots. She turned to Vizara. "What happens to me if I enter?" "You'll become something else. The world won't remember your name, but it will remember your light." Leora's voice cracked. "And if I walk away?" Vizara lowered her head. "Then the code dies, Earth stays broken. And others like you will be hunted forever." Silence filled the chamber. Leora stepped closer to the biocore. It opened slightly, glowing like breath, like a cradle. She looked down at her hands. The hands they once said were too wide to be useful. The body they once called too soft to be sacred, and yet, that very body was the container of the last seed of Earth. A rootless child approached quietly. She held a small device, a memory recorder. "If you want," the girl said, "you can leave a message for yourself." Leora smiled gently and nodded. She pressed the recorder to her lips. "If I forget everything, if I wake up without a name, just remind me that I was once enough to restart the world." She gave the device to the child and stepped inside the cocoon. It closed around her like warm water. Light burst from the seams. And then, silence. Above Dead Eden, clouds began to part. The air grew clear. Old satellites blinked back to life. Broken trees began to sprout again, their roots twisting with silver vines. The world exhaled, as if waking from a deep sleep. And somewhere, far away, a new child was born with golden eyes. The system read her DNA and blinked. Unknown class. Unregistered code error. 2 HUMAN on the winds. The voice of a woman long gone whispered. She chose the world. She chose the weight. She chose the flesh and made it holy. The world woke before she did. Birds returned to cities. Rain washed the ash from old buildings. The machines that once judged bodies by weight, width, and numbers blinked off one by one. Earth was quiet, for the first time in 1,000 years. It listened. In the outer sector of New Solis, inside a small green home wrapped in vines, a girl opened her eyes. She was breathing, deeply, steadily, but she didn't know her name, not yet. Her hair was silver, her eyes were gold. Her hands were strong, wide, soft, and glowing faintly under the morning light. Nurses said she had no record, no family, no ID. Just a note, folded and left in her pocket, handwritten, smudged. "If I wake up and don't know who I am, tell me. I was once enough to restart the world." They called her Nova, because she arrived after the world ended and bloomed again. She didn't speak much. She wandered into libraries no one used, ran her fingers over ancient screens, and sat under stars as if she knew their secrets. But inside her, quiet, slow, rising like smoke, something watched. Something remembered. Weeks passed. Nova dreamed strange dreams, of water that breathed, of cities made of skin, of a woman with glowing eyes who gave up everything to become light. And then one day, as she walked past a market stall, a man dropped a glass bottle. It rolled to her feet. She picked it up. The man stared, eyes wide. Leora? She tilted her head. Sorry, I'm not her. The man stepped back. You were sold to me years ago. You glowed, you changed everything. People nearby turned to look. They whispered. Nova didn't respond. She just smiled, gently, but her hands had begun to glow again. That night, the system rebooted. Her name scan. It blinked. Unknown identity, genetic class, outborn ++ threat level, UNMSURBLIS. Suddenly, quiet agents woke from their sleep. Silent orders were given. Find her, contain her, classify her. They didn't understand. The system they served was already gone. Visara watched from a distant tower, older now. Her robes were gray. She smiled as she saw Nova walk past the broken statue of a breeder Class A, now covered in flowers and moss. She doesn't remember her name, Visara whispered, but the world does. In the city square, children drew strange shapes in chalk, wide spirals, soft circles, symbols that looked like Leora's body. Not thin lines, not sharp edges. New beauty had formed, and in the silence of that new world, someone finally said it aloud. She wasn't too wide. She wasn't too soft. She wasn't too full. She was just right, because she was the first body built for memory, not for shame. Late one evening, Nova stood near the sea. Her fingers traced waves in the air. The wind seemed to obey. She closed her eyes. She didn't know her name, but she knew this. She had died with a message and come back as the message itself. She wasn't meant to fit in the old world. She was meant to end it. And begin something better. Epilogue. In the old vaults of Dead Eden, long buried under green hills and gold dust, the biocore rested silent. Inside its walls, one last heartbeat pulsed, not for war, not for perfection, not for breeding, but for remembering, and remembering was power.